All right. I keep forgetting to unmute in Rumble Studio. I had a slight little hiccup. Everything sounds good in Rumble. Everything sounds good in D Live. Now I gotta hit refresh on YouTube. See how it sounds good. See if it sounds good there. Running a few minutes late. Today's episode is Weird Science, just so everybody knows. And to be honest with you, I've been up all hours of the night, actually working on getting a lot of things caught up. And so far, to be honest, it's like the first week that I actually have everything taken care of on Wednesday. So it leaves Wednesdays open, and it's actually been a benefit, to be honest with you. Audio sounds good on YouTube. Now I set Rumble, D Live, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick all up for live stream. Not going to check Twitch and Kick. I can tell you though that I did switch the name of the stream over like I'm supposed to, but I didn't do that. Last thing I need to do is go in on my stream on YouTube, make sure that it shows on its proper playlist. Maybe put a cool thumbnail in there. But yeah, this week's actually been pretty good on that, on being able to catch up and stuff. But it has its wear it has wear and tear involved with it too. You know what I mean? It's not really something that you can have done in you know quick and easy. Like I said, I've been up all night. I went to bed this morning, my time, at like 6 o'clock. I just barely woke up to come in here and get all this set up and going. So you guys have to have a little patience with me. I'm getting things organized, straightened out, and it should be up and ready to go. Let me see here. I have to get my talking points or my topics up for the show. I I have them ready at least. So now let's get ready for this. I've got my coffee, did my smoke break before I did it, and everything's set up there and ready to go. But yeah, I was telling a friend of mine on Discord, home away from YouTube, about I've been wanting to get in there and give his channel more support, which is home away from YouTube. I haven't really had the time with all the stuff that I've been doing, because I've been pretty much uh, I've been pretty much doing like having one video every day published on the wonderful world of weirdness. It's going to be exactly 1 year that I've been able to do that on the 15th. And besides that, I've been live streaming at least three times a week on the wonderful world of weirdness. And that's not even including me live streaming on my main channel, which is Roger Hansen, and then the Praetorian. I've been also doing the edits and everything on another channel that I've got. It's called Earth, and I've been putting those up, and I'll be doing that from all the way through August up until the end of September. So it's been kind of a challenge, you know what I mean? And then after that, that's when I get back to my other channel, which is the Storyteller, and I can continue where I left off on the short stories that I've been putting together there, that I've been writing. So I'm kind of, and I'm really wanting to get that going because it's a challenge that I've been having. I really hate the fact that I have not been able to get into my writing as much as what I've been wanting to. So I've got to find out exactly what episode this is. I have no clue, to be honest with you. I'm looking through my talking points now. All right, so this is the seventh episode. Let me see what we've got here. Yeah, yesterday on the cut, my topics were a lot shorter than what I had I had thought they would be. I thought that it would consist of an hour, and it didn't. But I do want to tell everybody I'm going to double down on more talking points for the cut so that it's longer. I didn't expect it to end that fast. I think I only was able to stream for like 45 minutes, so that kind of messed me up. So let me do a last minute check, make sure everything is running. Okay. So far, it sounds good. All right. So we are set up and ready to go. And before I get started, I'd like to say thanks for everybody who is here, um, and get on with the show. So let me do my countdown, and then I'll do an official start, and we'll get this going. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Weird Science. I'm Roger Hanson, and I will be your host for today. We are going to go into another three topics / talking points today on the seventh episode for Weird Science. Now, I have to tell you guys up front, man. I thought it would be a lot easier to remember a lot of the weird science that I've gone through, because I have gone through quite a bit, and to be honest, I probably wouldn't have remembered some of it if I didn't um, actually hear people talking about it in other streams that I've been in. And plus, I've also got to say too that there were some of them that I didn't even know about that inspired me. One of them was from Vicky Vass, Arped Vass's wife. Now he had a really really interesting story to tell, and it just blew me away. I did an episode where I talked about chemical plumes and how they have new devices now that can detect the dead and everything, because of the decomposition of the human body. That's pretty amazing, So there were stories like that. There were some stories I knew about, but I never really dug in too deep on it, and that was one of them, especially. That was from Nancy Planeta off of Vixen's Vault. She had a story that I'd remembered. It was about a frequency that's being transmitted out of Eastern Europe that is really mysterious, and people really don't know what it is. That was one that I really thought was cool. I was able to actually grab that and put it into the stories as well. So before I got started, I did want to make a shout out to Vicky Bass and Nancy Planeta for allowing me to hear those stories. That was pretty cool. So With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to get on with my first topic. Sorry. Now, the field of evolutionary dynamics represents a sophisticated intersection of biology, mathematics, and social science. It explains how evolutionary processes unfold over time and how these mechanisms can be modeled and understood using mathematical frameworks. This scientific area investigates complex systems such as population dynamics, cooperation, and the emergence of behavior within a biological and social ecosystem. At the heart of this field lies the concept of cooperation. While natural selection traditionally favors competition, the paradox of cooperation has intrigued scientists for decades. Cooperation is seen in the behaviors of microbes, social insects, animals, and even in human societies. Through rigorous mathematical modeling and theoretical analysis, researchers have developed principles that help explain when and why cooperative strategies can thrive. One of the primary frameworks in evolutionary dynamics is game theory, particularly the prisoner's dilemma. It is classic form. Now, in its classic form, the dilemma pits individual interest against collective benefit. Through repeated interactions and population-based simulations, it becomes evident that under certain conditions, cooperation can evolve as a stable strategy. These insights have broad implications, influencing everything from understanding cancer cell behavior to fostering social harmony in human communities. Research centers and academic institutions have played a vital role in advancing these ideas. A renowned program established within prestigious university a renowned program established within a prestigious university focused on the interests or focused on the intersection of biology and mathematical modeling. It provided a fertile ground for interdisciplinary collaboration, drawing scholars from across the world. These foundations supported the development of theoretical tools that allowed scientists to model mutation, selection, and spatial structure in evolving populations. The research has delved deeply into structured populations where individuals do not interact randomly, but rather through defined networks. The introduction of spatial games and network theory allowed for a more realistic depiction of social and biological systems. These models showed how local interactions can support the spread of cooperative behavior, even when defection seems more advantageous in the short term. Other significant contributions include work on stochastic strategies, reputation dynamics, and indirect I have a hard time with this word, reciprocity, and indirect reciprocity. These mechanisms simulate how individuals can build trust and cooperation through observed behavior rather than immediate payoff. Such insights have contributed to evolutionary psychology and the design of artificial intelligence systems. Mathematical biology has also extended into public health and immunology. Evolutionary models insist in predicting the spread of infectious diseases and understanding the evolution of pathogens. They also offer tools for vaccine design and for evaluating strategies that minimize drug resistance. Several philanthropist foundations have supported this research over the years. These include major benefactors with interests in science, technology, and philosophy in human cooperation. By investing in disciplinary research, they have enabled groundbreaking studies into how evolutionary principles can be harnessed to address global challenges. The development of this scientific discipline has required robust collaboration between mathematicians, biologists, computer scientists, and philosophers. Workshops, conferences, and joint publications have fostered a community of scholars deeply invested in understanding the roots of cooperation and competition in all aspects of life. The legacy of this field continues to grow as new technologies allow for more detailed data collection and simulation. From understanding microbial from understanding microbial interactions in the human gut to modeling economic systems and international relations. Evolutionary dynamics serve as a bridge connecting diverse domains through the lens of adaptation and strategic interaction. At its core, the science of evolutionary dynamics strives to answer one of the oldest questions in biology: how do altruistic behaviors persist in a world governed by survival of the fittest? Through elegant models and empirical validation, it provides profound insights into the logic of life and the enduring complexity of living systems. The physical principles governing torque, inertia, and energy in rotating systems have profound implications, not only in mechanical engineering, but also in cosmological thought. One particularly intriguing idea explores how the application of torque to the flywheel can be viewed in the context of the mass energy of the universe itself. This concept links classical mechanics with more expansive philosophical and theoretical reflections on the nature of inertia, motion, and interconnectedness in the universe governed by physical law. We will be exploring this concept in depth, starting with the basics of torque and flywheel, and expanding into broader implications regarding energy, inertia, and mass in the context of the entire cosmos. To understand the connection between torque applied to a flywheel and the mass of the universe, we begin by considering what a flywheel is. and how it operates. A flywheel is a mechanical device that stores rotational energy. It resists changes. It resists changes in rotational speed to its mom, due to its moment of inertia, which is directly dependent on its mass and how that mass is distributed relative to its axis or rotation. The more massive the flywheel, or the further its mass is from the axis, the more energy it can store, and the more torque is required to change its rotational speed. Torque is the measure of the rotational force applied to an object. Excuse me. When torque is applied to a flywheel, it causes angular acceleration, which is the rate of change of angular velocity. This relationship is governed by the equation where torque equals moment of inertia multiplied by angular acceleration. Thus, the application of torque results in an increase in the rotational kinetic energy of the flywheel. Where this becomes particularly fascinating is in the philosophical and theoretical framework known as Mach's principle, named after the physicist Ernst Mach. This principle suggests that the inertia of any system is the result of its interaction with the total mass of the universe. In other words, when you push or rotate an object, you are not only acting locally, but also against a backdrop defined by the mass and distribution of all matter in the cosmos. From this perspective, when torque is applied to the flywheel, one could interpret the resistance, the inertia, not as something inherent only in the wheel, but also as something that involves, in a deeply interconnected way, the gravitational influence of all mass throughout the universe. This idea leads to the implication that energy input into rotating the flywheel is not an isolated process, but one embedded in the very structure of the universe. Rotational kinetic energy, the energy stored in a rotating flywheel, is given by the formula 1/2 times the moment of inertia times the square of the angular velocity. This energy, though seemingly confined within the flywheel, has its core roots in mass, space, and time, the fundamental components of the physical universe. When considering the nature of a flywheel, one must begin with its essential properties, its resistance to change in rotational motion, which is determined by its moment of inertia. This moment of inertia is proportional to the mass of the flywheel and the distribution of that mass from its axis of rotation. When torque is applied to a flywheel, it does not immediately accelerate, but gradually builds angular velocity, storing energy in its rotation. This stored energy is a function of both the mass of the flywheel and the square of its angular velocity. In this way, the flywheel demonstrates how mass and motion intertwine to produce and store mechanical energy. Translating this principle to a broader cosmic scale, some theoretical physicists have speculated whether a similar mechanism could be responsible for the energy dynamics of the universe. The idea stems from Ernst Mach's principle, which suggests that local inertia frames are influenced by the large-scale distribution of mass in the universe. In simple terms, the inertia of an object here on Earth is not just an intrinsic property, but is somehow influenced by the gravitational effects of all matter in the universe. In this view, the application of torque to the flywheel and its subsequent resistance due to inertia could be seen as more of a localized phenomena. The resistance might be affected by the existence of distant galaxies and cosmic structures, implying a universal interconnection of mass and inertia. When torque is applied and the flywheel resists, the implication under this interpretation is that it is the gravitational influence of the entire universe that is responding to the torque. Therefore, the energy stored in the rotating flywheel is not isolated, but might be subtly linked to the mass energy content of the cosmos itself. One might consider how general relative frames this concept. According to Einstein's equations, the curvature of spacetime is directly influenced by mass and energy. Every object with mass bends the fabric of space and time, affecting the motions of other objects. If one extrapolates from this, the act of spinning a flywheel could be, in a minuscule way, the act of spinning a flywheel could, in a minuscule way, interact with the curvature created by distant cosmic bodies. Though this interaction is imperceptible or imperceptibly small, it suggests a universe in which all motion and all mass are part of a grand interrelated system. Additionally, the energy within the universe is not merely kinetic or potential in a classical sense. Modern cosmology describes several forms of energy that permeate the cosmos. Dark energy, which drives the accelerated expansion of the universe. Dark energy, which influences galactical rotation and clustering, and the cosmic microwave background, a relic of the universe's early radiation. These components form an energy budget of the universe, and any complete model must account for the interactions and transformations between these types of energy. If one imagines the universe as a vast, slowly turning flywheel, one could draw analogies between its rotational inertia and the cosmological parameters that govern its evolution. Just as a flywheel resists changes to its motion, the universe resists certain changes to its expansion and structure. The balance of mass, energy, and momentum determines the large-scale dynamics of cosmic evolution. Furthermore, conservation laws, such as the conservation of angular momentum, extend from mechanical systems to celestial ones, providing a continuity of physical principles across scales. Some physicists have even proposed models where the entire universe can be described as a rotating structure. Though not widely accepted, these models attempt to explain certain asymmetries and phenomena observed in the cosmos. Whether or not these models are accurate, they demonstrate the intellectual curiosity that leads scholars to draw connections between mechanical systems like flywheels and the grand mechanics of the universe. In this framework, torque applied to the flywheel becomes not just a mechanical act, but a conceptual bridge to understanding energy, inertia, and mass distribution on a universal scale. It reminds us that the forces we engage with in daily engineering problems echo the profound interactions that shape the cosmos. And while the universe may not be a flywheel in a literal sense, the analogy invites deeper reflection on how simple mechanical principles can illuminate complex cosmic truths. The simple act of applying torque to a flywheel offers more than a mechanical lesson. It opens a window into the profound interconnectedness of matter, motion, and energy across the universe. This resistance, or the resistance a flywheel exhibits to changes in its rotation, traditionally attributed to its moment of inertia, can be seen through a broader lens as a manifestation of the gravitational influence of the cosmos itself. Whether through Mach's principle, or the curvature of space-time described by general relativity, the inertia experienced locally is deeply tied to the vast unseen mass spread throughout the universe. This perspective challenges us to rethink the boundaries between the local and the universal, showing how even everyday physical phenomena are woven into the grand fabric of reality. While the notion that the mass of the universe contributes directly to the energy within a spinning flywheel remains a philosophical and theoretical idea rather than a settled scientific fact. I do not agree with settled science, just so everybody knows. It inspires deeper inquiry into the nature of inertia, energy, and our place within the cosmos. As science continues to probe the frontiers of physical and cosmological, or cos- as science continues to probe the frontiers of physics and cosmology, such ideas remind us that understanding the universe requires looking beyond isolated systems to the interconnected whole. The flywheel, with its steadfast resistance and elegance, or elegant energy storage, serves as a metaphor and a tool, symbolizing the unity between the mechanics of motion and the vast scale of cosmic extension. The sun is a massive incandescent sphere of plasma that serves as a primary source of energy for the solar system. Its ability to generate and radiate energy is central to the existence of life on Earth and drives countless physical, chemical, and biological processes. Understanding how the sun transforms energy and how its mass behaves during these transformations offers profound insight into the fundamental principles of physics and the nature of matter and energy in the universe. At the heart of the sun lies a process known as nuclear fusion. This process involves the fusion of light atomic nuclei, predominantly hydrogen, into heavy nuclei, chiefly helium. The immense pressure and temperature at the sun's core provide the necessary conditions for this fusion to occur, overcoming the natural repulsion between positively charged atomic nuclei. When hydrogen nuclei combine to form helium, a tremendous amount of energy is released. This energy is the source of the sun's radiant light and heat. One might ask, as fusion converts hydrogen into helium, whether the sun loses mass in the process. The answer involves a delicate interplay between the laws of mass conservation and the equivalence of mass and energy, a principle brought to light by Albert Einstein in the early 20th century. Einstein's famous equation, which relates mass and energy, tells us that mass can be converted into energy and energy into mass. This equation fundamentally altered the classical understanding that mass and energy were separated, immutable quantities, or separate, immutable quantities. In the sun's core, the mass of the newly formed helium nucleus is slightly less than the combined mass of the original hydrogen nuclei. The difference in mass, called the mass deflect, is not lost but instead transformed into energy. This energy emerges primarily in the form of gamma rays, high energy photons that travel outward from the core. As these photons make their way through the layers of the sun, they are absorbed and re-emitted countless times, gradually losing energy and shifting to larger wavelengths, eventually emerging as visible light and heat. Thus, the sun does lose mass as it radiates energy, but this loss is extremely small relative to its total mass. The sun converts approximately 4 million tons of mass into energy every second. While this sounds enormous, it represents only a tiny fraction of the sun's total mass, which is on the order of 1.9 times 10 to the 30 power kilograms. Over billions of years, this mass loss accumulates, leading to the eventual depletion of the sun's fuel. But for now, the sun remains remarkably stable. This process illustrates the principle of mass energy conservation. The sun does not destroy mass, rather, it transforms some of its mass into energy. The total amount of mass energy remains constant, merely changing forms. This principle is fundamental to physics and underpins many natural phenomena beyond stellar fusion. It reconciles the classical law of conservation of mass with the modern understanding that mass and energy are interchangeable. Beyond the Sun, this principle has significant implications for our understanding of the universe. It informs the behavior of particular interactions, nuclear reactions, and even the origins of the cosmos itself. The equivalence of mass and energy provides the theoretical foundation for technologies such as nuclear power and medical imaging, which rely on harnessing these transformations. The Sun's mass loss through energy radiation also influences its gravitational interactions with the planets. As the Sun loses mass, the gravitational pull it exerts weakens slightly. Over astronomical timescales, this change can affect the orbits of planets, albeit very subtly. Nonetheless, the Sun's gradual mass loss is a factor in the long-term evolution of the solar system. The energy radiated by the Sun powers photosynthesis in plants, drives the weather systems on Earth, and maintains the delicate balance of ecosystems. The Sun's radiant output shapes climate patterns and enables the water cycle, vital components of the biosphere. Without the continuous transformation of mass into energy within the Sun, life as we know it would be impossible. Understanding the Sun's energy transformation process requires a grasp of nuclear physics and quantum mechanics. The fusion reactions involved overcome the Coulomb barrier, the electrostatic repulsion between positive charged nuclei. Quantum tunneling allows hydrogen nuclei to fuse even when classical physics predict insufficient energy. This phenomenon highlights the uh, intricacies. This phenomenon highlights the intricacies of subatomic behavior and the probabilistic nature of quantum mechanics. The Sun's core operates as a natural fusion reactor, maintaining a delicate equilibrium known as hydrostatic balance. The inward gravitational force pulling matter towards the center is balanced by the outward pressure from energy released by fusion. This balance maintains the Sun's structure and stability, preventing collapse or explosion under current conditions. Energy produced in the core travels outward through the radiative and convective zones before escaping into space. This journey can take hundreds of thousands of years as photons scatter through the dense solar material. By the time the energy reaches the surface, it emerges primarily as visible light, ultraviolet radiation, and infrared radiation. This radiant energy sustains the Earth's climate and weather. It drives atmospheric circulation, Earth currents, and influences the chemistry of the atmosphere. Variation Variations in solar output can impact climate over long periods, evident in phenomena such as the solar cycle and historical climate events. The mass-energy conversion in the Sun also serves as a natural example for physicists studying the universe's fundamental laws. The processes at work illustrate that mass is not an unchangeable quantity, but can be converted into energy that shapes the cosmos. This understanding extends to phenomena such as supernova, where massive stars explode, converting vast amounts of mass into energy that can outshine entire galaxies briefly. Moreover, the interplay of mass and energy in the Sun provides a microcosm for understanding the cosmological evolution. The transformation of mass to energy in stars contributes to the cosmic energy budget and the distribution of elements essential for life. As stars age and die, they enrich the universe with heavier elements, enabling the formation of planets and eventually life. The Sun's transformation of mass into energy through nuclear fusion is a central process of astrophysics that demonstrates the principles of mass-energy equivalence. Although the Sun loses mass as it radiates energy, this loss corresponds to the energy emitted and follows the conservation of mass energy. This ongoing process powers the solar system and illustrates fundamental physical laws that govern matter and energy at all scales. Through this lens, the Sun serves not only as a life-giving star, but as a profound example of nature's interconnectedness. It teaches us that mass and energy are two sides of the same coin, constantly transforming, but always conserving within the vast expanse of the universe. Radiant energy that bathes our planet is a testament to these timeless principles, enabling life and inspiring our quest to understand the cosmos. I, I just, I don't know why. I mean, I know that the Sun is actually not really that interesting. If people aren't really interested in this kind of stuff, it's not really interesting. But like when you actually sit and you read this stuff like I just did, it just makes you feel good. I mean, I don't know why it does. It's really beautiful when it's actually written out like that, and being able to write that out and say it is just amazing. Um, I was telling my nephew a long time ago when he was I think he was in grade school. I told him, like when when this energy starts at the center of the Sun, you got to understand that it can take hundreds, maybe even thousands of years before it even reaches the outer part of the sun. So it takes that long for it to travel from the center of our sun to the outer limits before it's even able to leave the sun and become what we call sunlight. That's completely amazing. That whole concept would blow your mind. So um, for me, I personally, well, I know that we don't really have the technology to be able to detect it, but for me personally, I believe that if something was wrong with the sun that was going to cause it to, burn out, we would know way, way well ahead of time before that actually took place. You know what I mean? Because for that energy to leave the center of the planet or of the sun and make it to the edge, it's really really a long long amount of time. And one thing I do want to also check into too is like I've heard some people say that like you can actually take all of the all of the material that's in the solar system and put it into the actual sun, and there would still be space. So, like, the sun actually takes up more area than what it takes to put all of the planets and the asteroids and all of this material stuff around it. I find that pretty interesting. I'm not quite sure if that's true, but that's something that I have been wanting to um, get into and see if it is true or not, because I think that's cool stuff. You know what I mean? And I've always been into science. I'm not as much as I am into history, as you guys can tell, but I really do like talking about history as well as science. And if you guys have any weird science that you want to share with me, feel free to send them to me. You can send them to me at Roger1969 at gmail.com. Just send it to me. Or heck, man, just come on Discord, the wonderful world of weirdness. You know what I mean? Share it there with us on Discord. I don't have a group or a chat on Teams for the wonderful world of weirdness, but I do have one on or Elements or Element Matrix. I always have a hard time saying that, but it's Element. You can find the wonderful world of weirdness there. I actually named it WOW, WWOW. You can find us there on Matrix Element or Element Matrix, however that's said. As well as that, you can find me on my other chat, which is Live with Roger Hanson on there as well. Now, I don't have that on Discord, but I do have it on Teams, so you can get with me there. And like I said, if you got cool stuff that you want to share or that pertains to science, contact me at those three places or just directly to my email. I'd be more than happy to do my best to read these out loud. And I want to tell everybody too, I don't know if I've said this or not, but I do have my other channel. It's called Earth, and I know that I have bad reading skills, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm taking these stories or these talking points and I'm having them narrated and I'm editing them to where they sound decent. Like when you go on there, you're not going to hear it and say, man, this sounds like a robotic voice. It's none of that, because I don't like that either, okay? But I'm going to take it. I'm going to have it I'm going to have it narrated to where it sounds good, and it'll be read out, and you guys can check that out when it comes out on there at a later time. Usually, what I do, like right now, I'm going to be live streaming and uploading on the wonderful world of weirdness all the way up until December. Okay, and what I do is besides this, I'm also doing live streams and uploads on my other channels, the Praetorian and Live with Roger Hanson, on my main channels, and that's both on YouTube and Rumble. But after September, I'm going to be shifting from my main channel and the Praetorian to focusing on the wonderful world of weirdness and Earth, which I'm still focusing on the wonderful world of weirdness while I'm doing the Praetorian and my main channel. So I am doing that. You can catch all of those channels on both Rumble as well as YouTube. And other than that, I am also live streaming straight through DLive. You can catch me there at Roger underscore Hanson. You can also catch me at Kick as Roger underscore Hanson as well. Now on Twitch, that's a little bit different. That's my gaming. That's where I started doing all my gaming stuff, and I set up that account. It's Infamous 1969. You can find me there at Infamous 1969. And yeah, it's pretty cool if people do that. If you want to send me those, I'm also doing a campfire stories, just scary stories. If you guys want to write a scary campfire story that makes little kids afraid at night, send them to me, guys. I love that stuff. After like it's going to be right in the middle of September, just before October, I'm going to switch it over from campfire stories to fireside stories, because like me and Austin Todd, we were talking about that last year, and it's like it would be better to have fireside stories during the fall rather than campfire stories, because most people don't go camping in the middle of the fall and the winter. But I agree with that, so we decided to do that. But it's basically the same concept. So from this point out, all the way up until December, I will be taking scary stories if you guys want to do that as well. So I think I did a pretty good job there at, putting a plug in without actually freaking doing it outright. That's pretty stylish there. So if you like this episode, please like, subscribe, share, make comments. Make comments down in the comment section, guys. You don't really know how important that is to people whenever they take time to bring this stuff to you, find the information, and share it with you. They like to have conversations about it. I love talking about stuff like this. And even though I do have this live chat here, that's not the same. It really isn't. It's not the same as getting a good comment in the comment section and getting a conversation started down there. So remember that. And not only that, but you're also helping people out on their channels too. Like, everybody's always big about talking about algorithm this and algorithm that. But, when you make comments in the comment section and those people are able to talk back to you and respond, that shows the platform that this is an active channel. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind. There's a lot of ways that you can help support channels other than sending them money. You can like, subscribe, share, make comments. And with that, I'm going to stop badgering you guys. I hope you did enjoy. If you did enjoy, thank you for watching, and thank you for your support. I hope you guys have a good day, good week, no matter what time of the day it is. I always say that because I talk to people from different parts of the world, so this could be morning time for somebody. I know it's my morning. I mean, I literally woke up like a half hour before doing this, and I shouldn't really be bragging about that because like I do this at 5 p.m. in the afternoon, and I woke up at like 4:30, and that was because I stayed up doing edits, getting things straightened out until about 6 this morning, and then I still couldn't go to bed. To be honest, I laid down and I don't really know when I fell asleep. That's that's how crazy that is. All I know is I woke up and it was 4:30, and I had a half an hour before I had to stream, and I was 9 minutes late doing that. So it really kind of gets to you. You know what I mean? When you have to set yourself up on a schedule, and then all of a sudden things kind of get overwhelming. But I've learned that the best way to handle that is to work through it. So hopefully I did work through that and I got it all straightened. Um, we are good to go though. I was able to get on here, give you guys an hour's worth of stuff, and like I said, I apologize for being late with the stream, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So with that, I am going to go ahead and end the show. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you later.